Folks, Tesla surges on a beat on EPS. Starbucks reverses off of a dismal earnings report. Gold drops. Natural gas rallies. And we're going to talk about all of these tonight. So before we go to Tesla, let's first talk about our day today. Gold. We shorted gold yesterday using the futures. Gold gap down. We booked profits. We are out. We booked some profits on our gold mining stocks 2 days ago. NUGT and GDXJ. They dropped today to about on par where we got out. I'm still looking for a little bit of weakness there. We will reestablish our larger position once we hit a major support level. Members will be talking about that later on Market Wrap. Now, the symbol I want to talk about tonight, first off, before we go to Tesla, is Starbucks. Last night, I put out a commentary with regard to its earnings report, and here's a clip of what I had to say last night. And initially, the shares dropped down to $88 per share. That's a pretty significant move, but cooler heads prevailed. The shares bounced back, and we've dropped down into a trading range. I'm not going to do anything right here, right now. Eastern Standard Time, when the institutional money has more clarity about what they want to do with Starbucks. Will they gap it up? Will they gap it down? Between now and tomorrow morning, I'm probably not going to do anything but watch and then decide which direction we're going to take on Starbucks. And I already have an inkling of which direction I'm going to go, and it's probably to the short side. But there's a reason why I'm being very, very careful about executing on that trade, even with the data that we have right now, because we don't know whether or not this has been priced in, do we? So right now, we need to look at the price action for what it is. The shares are down. They're well off the lows of the session. Therefore, somebody was willing to step in and buy at $88 a share. So I take notice of that. And at this point in time, we do nothing. That's the discipline. So here's where we were last night when we were going over Starbucks. It had dropped, as I just mentioned. It rallied. It just went into a sideways consolidation into the 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time after our session close. Then what happened is that at 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, it reopened. And what did they do? As I mentioned, that they would probably gap it down. But then at around 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, it began to catch a bid. Buyers began to move in. Now, what should not be ignored is the fact that that occurred with a higher low. So the lesson learned here, as I just mentioned, is that we don't know what's priced into a stock going into earnings. So if you were somebody last night that is new to trading, or you're just not respectful of the damage that being short the market can do to you if you don't have an edge over other traders, your head was handed to you today if you did not stop out very, very quickly. Now, I did mention last night that if we were going to trade Starbucks, it was probably going to be to the short side. But we're opportunists here. We're traders. I'm not emotionally involved. I drink Starbucks sometimes. It's a liberal company. I'm not a liberal guy, but I don't care. Our emotions have nothing to do with the trade. The trade has everything to do with the trade. Price action has everything to do with the trade. So how we reacted on that poor earnings report mattered quite a bit. So let's walk through the reasons why I did not, besides experience, why I did not knee-jerk react and short Starbucks after hours, despite the fact that that earnings report was bad. It was really, really bad. Let's talk about it. So we're pulling up TrendSpider, and this is a daily chart. Now, daily charts in and of themselves are okay, but they don't really help us with the longer-term macro trades, whether it be a multi-day, a multi-week trade. We need to go back and we need to take a look at a bare minimum, a weekly chart. So you look at this chart, and you could see that prior to yesterday's earnings report, we had broken out the prior week. We can't ignore that. And add to that, we had support. Also, what we had was a W formation that formed right there. So we were in a downtrend channel. There you have it. Capitulation blow off, consolidation, W formation, breakout, consolidation, breakout, pull back and a retest. So looking at this chart, one has to say to themselves, does it look smart to short this stock? Last night, I knew it before I even went live, that I didn't want to short into a weekly support level. Doesn't make sense. So I wanted to see how they would close it out on the week. So let's go back now to the daily chart, and let me illustrate for you why I also did not want to short the stock. And in fact, as I mentioned, it appeared on our scanner, our TrendSpider scanner, 35% discount code below, link below on YouTube, linked above on Twitter, discount code CON35, discount code CON35. So the scan that I ran was to identify Bollinger Band squeezes. That is when you have the Bollinger Bands here, and this is your out-of-the-box 2 standard deviation Bollinger Bands. And I wanted to know when you have the Bollinger Bands trading inside the Keltner channels. Here, in green. Bollinger Bands, red. Keltner channels, green. When you get the Bollinger Bands trading inside the Keltner channels, as I mentioned last night, the level of energy here is immense. You have a tug of war going on between bulls and bears. Somebody's going to win. Either a big whale is going to come in and they're going to take out all these stops here, and shorts are going to lean in and chase it lower, or you're going to have a reversal day and shorts are going to begin to cover positions, and opportunistic longs like me, we're going to take notice. And we're going to begin to do some bull operations on SBUX. I don't care about yesterday's earnings report. I care about today's price action. Yesterday's earnings report means nothing to me. I am not an investor in SBUX. I want to know what the price action did today in light of that bearish earnings report. If it closed up, that means that it was already priced in. And the bulls were already expecting it, and the bears, whoever shorted into it last night, got walloped. So what happened today? Bullish key reversal. Bullish key reversal. What does that mean? It means that we were down, we opened down, yet we closed up on the day. Now, I wasn't willing to do anything with this stock until I saw how it was poised to close. So I glimpsed at it late in the afternoon. I really didn't even think about it most of the day. Late in the afternoon, around 2 o'clock, maybe a little bit early, I'll start checking my phone, checking the symbols to see how the market's closing. I knew the markets were down all day long. I wasn't going to do anything until such time as we knew that we're coming into the final hour of trade, and the bulls were going to show their hand. Were they going to buy the market in advance of Tesla's earnings, or were they going to sell it off even further? So we began to see a rally, and I took a look at SBUX, and I wanted to see how the price action was there. It was well off the lows of the session. However, it couldn't quite turn positive at that point in time. So I put an advanced order in, meaning I want to buy when this goes green. So the second that it went positive on the day, I got to fill on that order, because I knew that if the markets were rallying and SBUX had already rallied off the lows of the day prior to the markets bottoming out, what else do I need to validate that in all probability SBUX is breaking out? So we did execute on the trade, a long trade, not a short trade. And we're up about 1/3 of a percentage point on the trade right now. I could book a profit if I want to. I think it's going up higher. So where do I think it's going to go? I think it's going up to probably, let's see if the automated trend lines pick it off. That's the daily automated trend lines. Again, folks, we're using TrendSpider, 35% discount code below. As a matter of fact, I want to talk about the gold trade in a moment too. I think we're coming up here. This is weekly resistance at around a little over $100 a share. I think that's probably a foregone conclusion. That's where we're going to go. So a very strong day today in StarBucks. Tesla reported good earnings. We'll talk about them in a moment. And the futures, I think they've reopened. Yes, they have reopened. Yes, they have reopened. And the NQ, the NASDAQ 100 futures, they're up about 1/3 of a percentage point. So it looks right now that we're probably going to get a rally. Now, I'm not overly bullish on the overall market right now. I did not like today's price action at all. So I will be talking about that with members later on Market Wrap in the members area. If you're not currently a member, please take advantage of our 14-day free trial offer and sign up and get our commentary, get our trade alerts, and also get TrendSpider free with our silver and gold level memberships. So before we talk about Tesla, let's talk about gold and the value of using the automated trend lines, because I missed something yesterday on gold. I had shorted into a resistance level on GLD. Actually, not GLD, the futures. I sold the futures, but I use GLD as our proxy for the topic of this conversation. Now, I shorted it into this first upper band of resistance. And again, folks, I didn't draw these lines. That's the algorithm that draws that. This is the daily trend lines in solid line. And in dash line, I overlay weekly resistance and support levels on a daily chart, and I could overlay monthly, quarterly, yearly, or none. So for the purpose of this conversation, all we need to do is just use the daily resistance levels. So I did not see this purple one, and I've been doing this for a long time now. I did not see this purple resistance level. I had extrapolated out and calculated this resistance level in green, and I missed the one in purple. My bad. So I validated it with TrendSpider, and had I used this rather than using my own drawing, I probably would have been a little bit better off. But we booked profits today. It worked out. We made money, and we are now in cash on that trade. Let's now talk about Tesla and its earnings report and how it's behaving in the after hours. And then we'll take a look at the chart, both daily and weekly, to identify where might we have resistance levels on Tesla, because right now it is rallying, and where might be a good entry point if we want to establish a long trade on Tesla. So let's get to it. So first up on Tesla is that the anticipated market maker move. This is for options traders, those who sell premium or buy premium into earnings. The market makers had priced in a $16 move on Tesla. Now, the shares closed out at $213.65 per share. So the move on Tesla was outside of the market maker anticipated move. So conservative options sellers made money. Maybe if it moves up higher at the 2 p.m. reopen of the markets for institutional players, it quite possibly will move up higher at 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then when we reopen here at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, then the shares, I would suspect, will probably move up higher. It all depends right now if we are at resistance. So we'll take a look at that in a moment, so stick around. So last tick, 238.9, really, really great price action here. Now, the reason why Tesla moved up higher, well, they beat on EPS. They missed by 0.75 of a percentage point on revenues. But the however is that their margins expanded. So net, the street likes the expansion of margins very, very much. That means that they're running lean and mean, and profits are dropping to the bottom line without having to do anything else. So Tesla is running lean and mean, and it's holding its after hours gains. So it appears as though the conference call is looking good. No concerns there. I'm looking to see if there are any headlines after hours to indicate forward-looking guidance. I am not seeing much here. You have a comment out of Gene Munster. He's a big analyst, usually on Apple, not so much on Tesla. Maybe he is. Yeah, Dan Ives, he's an analyst. He's a pretty good guy. He's pointing out what I mentioned earlier, that gross margins, that's the big story here for the company, and that's why you're seeing the shares move up higher. So a good report out of Tesla, and that bodes well for a positive open for the equity markets tomorrow. The question is, how do we close? And we'll talk about that with members tomorrow as we see whether or not we are seeing the Qs stall out. Do they fade? Do they move lower? The S&P 500, Dow Jones, and the triple Qs certainly took it on the chin. Yeah, they rallied off the lows of the day, but today was a concerning day. Volume rose today, and we haven't had volume lately, but volume has been rising to the downside. So let's talk a little bit about where Tesla might be going. So let's bring it up on TrendSpider. Let's add on the after hours price action. There we go. Okay, that's better. So I have a resistance level here. Let's change that to white, make that stand out. These are my manually drawn resistance levels. I'm going to throw up a couple of other ones. I use TrendSpider a lot to validate my own accuracy with my automated trend lines. And sometimes I miss stuff. Like yesterday with gold. I missed that second resistance level right behind the first one. So we are right now up and into a resistance level here. Let's bring this down a little bit. Yeah. So let's call it 240 is resistance. Last tick was at around 239 on Tesla. So sure, they can move it up higher tomorrow. I think that what we want to see here on Tesla, let's throw up the volume by price indicator to get volume shelves on here. And also let's overlay. I'm going to take my drawings off for a moment and overlay the automated trend lines. Not much in terms of resistance above that's being picked up by the algo. Okay, and volume by price is showing that we have real serious resistance up at around 245 per share. So I'm going to throw my drawings back on. I know it gets a little bit noisy, but it really helps me so I don't sell too early. I don't buy too early. So I think that we could probably press up higher into that 245 range tomorrow. If they do that, I'll probably lean in short into that strength because we know we have a lot of overhead supply up here. And they're looking to get made whole. So buyers from back here, buyers from back here sat through these peaks and troughs. They want out. So those people are going to sell, but that provides opportunity. I'm not going to short Tesla betting that it's going to go to zero or even retrace back down to today's lows. I don't think that's going to happen. But we could certainly retrace back down to a support level. So if we rally up to 245 or 244.50 here next week, is it unreasonable to us to expect us to pull back to around 234 per share? I don't think it is. So we could either A, buy the shares on any pullback, or B, sell puts. That'll get us long, but we're just using an income generation strategy to do so. So that's Tesla. That was our day in a nutshell. And yeah, that was pretty much it. We added a couple of positions, took a couple of positions off, but the big trades of the day, taking profits in gold, buying StarBucks, and we opened a position on natural gas. And that's pretty much it. All right, all. Don't forget, link below, TrendSpider, at least 35% discount code. Use the link below. You may get a better deal, but if they don't have a better deal than 35% discount code, use my discount code. Get that 35% off. Link below on YouTube. Link above on Twitter. And don't forget, 14-day free trial offer to the Contrarian Trader. And you can get TrendSpider for free with our silver and gold level memberships, plus our alerts, plus the community. And with that, everybody have an awesome night. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Be well.